how's it going, everyone? It's Ben Foggins, Media Corner, back again with a brand new video for today. Welcome back to another movie review, aka After I Saw review video for today. For this new aka After I Saw review video for today, this is going to be my review on a film that came out this year for 2022, which this movie came out just a couple months ago in the UK, which was September, and this movie came out just 2 months ago in the US, which was October. And I didn't even know when I was going to review this film. Like, I didn't even know if I wanted to review this film the day I saw this film or after I saw this movie. But I feel like today I should get this video done and upload. So here we go. Today's review is gonna be my review on the 2022 romantic comedy film, and that movie is Ticket to Paradise. This is directed by Al Parker, the man behind Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again, and this tells the story of a divorced couple, which consists of these two characters, which are Georgia and David, played by Julia Roberts and George Clooney, and they have a daughter named Lily, played by Kaitlyn, who has just recently graduated from college, with her best friend, played by Billie Lourd. And for these two characters, they travel to Indonesia to have a relaxing vacation there. And while they're having relaxing time there, Lily meets this farmer who she starts to fall in love with. And once these two characters show feelings towards one another, they decided the best opportunity is that they want to get married straight away. And once George and David find out about all of this, they travel to Indonesia to basically meet their daughter and her fiance. And all they want to do, and while they're there, basically their plan is that they want to sabotage the wedding of their daughter, thinking that she's making the worst mistake ever, and all that, just like they did to themselves once they were married and then they got divorced and all that, and that's why they don't get along with each other anymore. And while that happens, we see this bickering duo trying to reconnect with each other, as well as learn about themselves, what it was like to be happy, what it was like when they were happy together before, when they were married before. So that's pretty much the story of Ticket to Paradise. Now, I knew nothing about this movie going into it because I never saw much of its marketing and all that, but I saw the trailer for this movie just once in a while, and I barely remember anything about it until I saw the trailer again when I went back to work and all that, and the trailer kept playing the trailer for this movie kept playing loads and loads of times just right before the film was about to come out. And once I saw the trailer for this film dozens of times, I just didn't even know what to expect from this film. Also, I didn't expect this film to be looking absolutely terrible, because this film didn't look terrible when I first saw it. To me, it kind of looked like a decent watch or a good watch and all that. And since it's a romantic comedy, usually I'm kind of on and off with those kind of films. But we've had some pretty good surprising ones over the last few years and all that. And some that and there are some I do consider guilty pleasures and all that. And for the two main leads who are in this movie, which of course two Oscar winners, Julia Roberts and George Clooney, this one did, like I said, did look pretty interesting because I'm a big fan of those two people. And you also have Kaitlyn in this film, which you may know her from Booksmart, which I thought she was really good in Booksmart. And this movie, like I said, this was released in September of this year in the UK, while this movie was released just in October in the US. And this film was originally scheduled to be released earlier in September, but unfortunately, what happened in the UK was really sad because in the UK, we unfortunately lost Her Majesty the Queen, who sadly passed away, which I would say is the most biggest loss we've ever had to experience of any year ever. It is by far the biggest loss we've ever had this year, which it's really, really sad. So may she rest in peace, Her Majesty the Queen. And for cinemas around my area, cinemas had to be closed during all of that just for one day because it was the Queen's funeral. Once after all that was over, cinemas reopened, and I went out the next day to see this movie. And for my screening, there was quite a few people in my screening, but it wasn't massively packed or anything like that, but there was still quite a few people in my screening, namely couples and all of that, and some seniors in my screening as well. And after walking out of this film, I surprisingly had a good, enjoyable time with this one. But obviously, this is not like, I don't see this film being like the next romantic classic or anything like that in the next few years, but this still isn't a pretty enjoyable watch, yeah, from beginning to end. Like, the performances in this movie, I thought everyone was pretty good for their fun performances here. Like, George Clooney and Julia Roberts, they're both really good together in this movie, and their chemistry in this movie is just really entertaining throughout. And if that's what you come to see with this movie, you're going to get that all here. And as for everyone else in the film, like Kaitlyn from Booksmart, she was pretty good in the movie. And Billie Lourd, who was a comic relief in Booksmart, and here she's a comic relief here as well, and she was pretty fun in the movie too. And the actor who played the love interest of Lily, he was pretty good in the movie. Although for his introduction to his character, I kind of wish it could have been a lot more differently than instead of love at first sight though. But I totally understand the movie's idea for going from there. Again, I just kind of wish it could have been a lot more different for his introduction here. But still, though, his acting's pretty good in the movie, nonetheless, though. And since this movie is a romantic comedy here, it's pretty much obviously what you're going to expect from a movie like this. Like, from its story, it's pretty simple and basic for pretty simple and basic from where it's going from here and there. But I did like some of its elements of its story where it involves where it has like how you like the way you feel about yourself and what is love and all that, which I kind of found those elements in the film pretty strong here. And since this movie is pretty, silly and all that for a romantic comedy, the comedy stuff here in this film is it's pretty entertaining to watch. Although there are times where it does feel pretty much cliched here and there. And for those moments, I did kind of find it a little bit repetitive because the film kind of mostly goes for that instead of focusing a bit on seriousness here. Like it doesn't have like a whole lot of them here. It just has a little few in here, but I kind of wish there could have been a little more seriousness here in this film. But I totally understand the film's idea for what it's going from here and there, since this is a romantic comedy here, and obviously the film is pretty simple and basic really for what it's going from here and there and all that. And it's the direction by Al Parker looks pretty nice from where they shot the film. Although there are times where the film doesn't feel like it's a film made for cinemas, because there are some shots in the film where those look pretty much generic really. It's mostly due to the editing choices in the film, which I kind of found those choices in the film pretty odd at times, which that's another weak aspect I did have with the film, along with some of its repetitive stuff here. And for the pacing of the film, well, it's not that great. While the film is only now in 44 minutes, to me it almost didn't feel like it was that runtime here, because there are some scenes where it does tend to drag on here and there, and when it does try to move forward with its story, it just mostly kind of pulls itself back from there, which this film constantly does that. The movie constantly does that here. Like it moves forward with the story, pull itself back. Move forward with the story, pull itself back. It just constantly does that while you watch this film here and while you watch this film and all that. But in the end, guys, Ticket to Paradise, like I said, this was surprisingly an enjoyable watch. Yeah, I went with low expectations thinking this was going to be a decent watch, but no, I surprisingly enjoyed this one. It has some pretty fun performances, has some entertaining moments, and it has some strong elements here and there. But again, its story, like I said, it's pretty simple really, and like I said, for when it gets to its silliness, yeah, it does kind of feel pretty much cliched, although this film does kind of feel repetitive for those moments. And again, I kind of wish there would be a little bit more seriousness here, where some romantic comedies over the last few years have done that and all that, even some ones that are not good and all that. And again, I just kind of wish there would have been a little bit more of that stuff here. And like I said, there are some odd editing choices here, although it is nicely shot though, even though there are some shots which just look pretty much generic. And there are some pacing issues here and there and all that. But if you're a fan of these kind of movies, or you're a fan of these two main actors, George Clooney and Julia Roberts, you may have an enjoyable time with this one. If this is playing at local cinema near you, or if you don't want to see this in cinemas, it is available to stream on any app of your choice. So that's pretty much all I have to say about Ticket to Paradise. I'm gonna give Ticket to Paradise 3.5 out of 5. Again, I went with low expectations thinking this was going to be a decent watch, but no, after watching this whole thing, I surprisingly enjoyed this one. And when I saw the trailers from the very start, they didn't look bad to me when I first saw them. And obviously I didn't expect this film to be terrible or anything, but it just looked like one of those films I would have seen before in the past, though. But still, though, I managed to have an enjoyable time with this one. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching for my AK After I Saw review on Ticket to Paradise, and let me know what you think of this brand new release. If you've seen this already, you've just recently checked out this film, did you have a really good time with this, or is this not really a cup of tea? As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and this has been Falcon's Media Corner signing off.